This place is great. When can we move in?
Hey, good morning. We move in today. What a classic Ghostbusters moment there, wasn't it? Original Ghostbusters. Today I'm gonna describe what this means war question. If you saw the thumbnail that I posted, I had a bunch of messages on that yesterday, like, blah, blah, blah. I mean, sure, maybe it's a little bit over the top to put something like that, but if you followed me at all for very long, you know some of the attacks that have happened. Oddly, I don't make any money on social media. I'm not going to say that that's never going to be the case or anything like that. I mean, we don't know the future, but there's never been like anything that I'm going to be over the top hyperbolic and I'm going to talk about one thing and attack another side, so to speak, or whatever, anything like that. That's not what I've ever been about. Yes, I have my opinion. Yes, it's a strong opinion. And no, I don't get my sources from one place. I don't watch Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or anything like that, just at all. And I don't know. I think I'm healthier for it, I guess, but that might just be me. I mean, literally, this is in my book. I mean, I've read this. This is in my bookshelf. I have I don't know, few hundred books, I suppose, but Rule for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. Very controversial stuff, if you ask me. One of my favorite books of all time, Frank Peretti, Piercing the Darkness. I've read that like 6 times. I mean, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. So there's been a lot of these things that, have taken place. And I said, in fact, I've even started, before I started doing the morning hair show, I started to take some notes and essentially almost even I would call it predicting the future of what this was going to be. And I think I will do a video on it. And I don't think I'll keep that to myself because some of these things have already taken place. Let me, if you didn't see the thumbnail, I have it on my phone here and stuff, but just like 4 days after I first started the live show, I get these notice of intellectual policy infringement emails, and well, it's a live show. It's me. The video I just showed you, I do some of those things on purpose because that is called fair use. So I use that for a purpose, not to sell anything based off of it or whatever. So it's a whole path I don't want to go down today, but I've really over the years looked into it, and then another one on New Year's Eve. Your account will be suspended for blank policy. I've blurted out some of these things, obviously on purpose to not give away certain information that would, say where I'm at or anything like that. But, and this is something that I know a lot of people have personally faced as well. They face this kind of, really censorship. I've had videos pulled completely off of social media sites, Facebook and YouTube, and Instagram, LinkedIn, all kinds of things. And so I'm going to give you an announcement in just a little bit, but I want to tell you the origins of Shiny, and that specifically came about because my daughter had died in a car crash. I was not witness to the crash, but I did drive up on scene just not long after it had happened. They were still trying to extract her from the vehicle and some of those things. And so remarkable experience to be in, obviously. And because of that trauma that had happened, I was asked to share. I suppose the most simple way to say it, I was asked to talk about it. So I did. And then people kept asking and asking more and more and more, because it connected with people, and that's fantastic. I've never had the dream of being a public speaker, or it doesn't make me afraid, but it's not something that I really like. Yes, I get to do this today. Obviously, for the things that I'm talking about, the death of my daughter and witnessing them trying to extract her from the vehicle, and these things are very traumatic. But Shiny came when I was asked to speak, probably about 8 or 9 months after her death. I was approached to speak at this event that was coming up in a few months to help. There was a traumatic event at a company, I'll just say it like that, and it was a corporate thing that I was going to speak on, and the trauma of that, and what the steps were to get through it and move on. Most people say move on. I say move forward, because the earth keeps spinning, and I'm not going to get into some of those things right now. But so I was a high school speaker, essentially, and what I did was I went around to high schools and I talked about it, said what I learned, and did it without blaming people or shaming people or anything like that. And so I had this opportunity to go do this, but they wanted it to be very different. They wanted it to be very specific. It was a corporation. I was speaking to around 200 men, and there was another speaker, a woman, that was speaking to, I don't even know how many women they had there, a million for all I know, but they had her speaking to women at a completely different venue in the company. And so I was there, and so I developed Shiny. So it stands for strong, hope, influential, necessary, you. And I walked through all these different steps. And so I get there, and I'm not sure if he was a CEO or whatever, president or whatever his title was. And I get there, and this guy comes up to me about 20, 30 minutes before my presentation, and he is very intimidating, big, bushy beard, like strong, tall guy. And he's saying, like, look, I don't know if this is really the thing that we want to do. I looked through your slides and the Shiny thing, and that's kind of weird, and all these things. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's call him, I don't know, Joey, I guess. So I said, Joey, I'll tell you, don't pay me. If you don't think it's good enough at the end of it, don't pay me. Hold on to your check, and we'll just talk about it afterwards. If you don't think it was successful for your group, we'll just, that's fine. Now, granted, it wasn't a lot of money, so I wasn't going to lose a lot, but nonetheless, it was important to me. That money at that time was extremely important to me. And being I was, it was a tough time. Let's just leave it there. So I said, Joey, I said, you are Shiny. I'm going to show you how I believe that you're a valuable human being by telling you that you are strong, that you are hope, that you are influential, that you are necessary, and you are unique. I said, I believe that. I said, and then I'm going to move you guys on to, and I said, specifically you, Joey, I'm going to move you on to be Shiny, to take action, to be strong, to be hope, to be influential, to be necessary, and to be you, to do that in your style. And then I said, after I encourage you to take action in that, and you start to have some confidence in those actions, I'm going to talk about how it's so important that you're secure in that, so that you can say, yeah, I am strong. I am hope. I am influential. I am necessary. And then I said, Joey, here's the thing. I am you. And he looked at me, obviously, and he said, I have no idea what that means. And I said, I have the same situations in life. I have the same fears in life that you face. Maybe they're slightly different, but we have anxiety. We have these different emotions, and I won't go deep into it because, we want to try to keep this at 10 minutes, and I'm probably way over that already. But I said, we're connected as humans. We have the same things that bring us joy, or similar things. We experience so many of the same things. And I said, then I'm going to move you on to stay shiny, stay shiny, stay strong. What we need to do to, well, I put it like this actually in the presentation I didn't with Joy at the time, but like Arnold, I mean, he's one of the most well-known bodybuilders in history. And I said, he didn't do it on his own. He had to have spotters to stay in shape, and he had to keep going every day and doing these things and routines and to bulk up and whatever. And so stay strong, stay hope, stay influential, stay necessary, and to stay you, to make sure you don't lose yourself in the midst of trauma and the different things that may occur in life. And he looked down at me because he was significantly taller than I am. And he goes, when you say stay shiny, he said, are you saying that because I'm bald? And I looked at him, not understanding his sense of humor, and he was bald. And I said, and he starts to laugh. And I said, yeah, I said, that's exactly it. Needless to say, I was paid for that, and everything was great. And that's how it developed in the short story. I developed shiny in those different processes that, I could teach people. It's not something you can teach in an hour or really even in a day, but it is something that if you really condense it and concentrate it, that is what it's very important to understand, that is something that's not just one quick thing. It's not one quick fix. It's not one day. It's a lifetime. It's years of doing these things to have that kind of capability and thought process that sustains you every day. But here's the announcement. In basically a week, I have put significant effort into Shiny Brand. And in 1 week, there's going to be a whole lot more content. I've filtered things down into, kind of the nucleus, if you will, I suppose is a way to put it, with the help of a consultant, and what direction that's going to be and how that's going to go, and the importance of that for, I think, what really trauma recovery is. And we all have experienced different trauma, and we all need recovery in that kind of sense. So that's where it's headed. But I can't do it alone. I need you. I want you to participate. I'd like you to consider making a purchase from the online store. Significant changes are coming to the website, shinybrand.com, in another week to 10 days. There's just been a lot of things, hundreds of hours, excuse me, over the last few months that have gone into this. And it's really at that precipice where I'm extremely excited about it. I've been excited about it the whole time. It's really scary because I'll tell you this, as I make this announcement, I am all in. I did some research. I'm not young. You already knew that. You didn't need to research that part. But there's a lot of successful entrepreneurs that were older than I am. KFC, I mean, let's just start there. He was like 62 or something. And so that's fantastic. So I'm all in. I have, this isn't, there's no plan B. This isn't something that is kind of a side gig or mission or anything like that. I really want Shiny to help people. I really, really do. I really believe that it can. And I also have facts that it has. I am going to, this show, this morning hair is to be very condensed. I'm way over time already than what I want to normally be, about 10 minutes. And morning hair is a place for us to be vulnerable together, to be, like I've said, my hair has been a very important part of my public appearance since I was a teenager. I just I don't like having messy hair and people seeing it. So this is a really big deal for me, truly. And it might seem weird and stuff, and I guess it really kind of is, but this is the way I am. And with that, your influence on this show, there's been probably 95% of the things that we've talked about up to this point has come from you. And now, before I make this announcement, I want to say, when you send me a direct message, I will absolutely never, ever share it with anybody. One of the things that I want to segue into here as I make this announcement, these screenshots, I sat and looked at them and stared and thought for over an hour on whether or not I wanted to share them publicly. I'm not a big fan of sharing screenshots of conversations when they're direct messages. When they're public comments, it's very different, obviously. But this is something that I didn't take lightly, and it's something that I don't think is generally appropriate to do. And I want to just say that I think it is important, because we we as humans are in a battle between good and evil, and evil has gotten very, very clever. And to say that I haven't done things that would be considered by others evil, I mean, that would be naive and silly for me to say, even, because we've all made mistakes. We've all done things wrong. Not that it's a practice, and that's the difference, I think, between what is essentially good and evil is the practice of doing things that are just not right or appropriate, or changing the definition of things and stuff like that. So with the suppression of what this is, I need to ask you to consider to sharing this. Even if you send it as a direct message, copy the link and send it as a direct message to people. Do that. Whether it's me or somebody else that's important for you, that's something that was influential in your life, send that to somebody. Share these things, because the good stuff, the stuff that is essentially good for us and humanity, are they're not shared often. Nobody likes them, because evil will send you messages like this, like, we're going to shut down your entire social media platform and threaten you. And I know people that's happened to, and for silly reasons. I don't want to really dwell on it anymore. I know I have probably too long, because this show isn't very deep into certain topics. It's just a surface opinion and some of that kind of thing. Yes, I am going to dive deeper into some different, I don't know if I want to call it a podcast or just I'll be sharing videos and deeper dives into things. I don't know how I want to label it at this point, but yes, that is what I'm going to do. I am going to dive in deeper. I'm going to do more research, more fact checking, not just a surface opinion on things, similar to some of the things I've done in the past. And it will be, there will be my bias in it, obviously, and to say that our bias isn't involved in about everything we do is another thing that is silly. So we're going deep into shiny here, and I'm leaving the past behind. I'm going towards the future. I'm going to probably put some of those notes together on how I've predicted the future and what kind of criticism and negativity that is going to come my way. I do that simply to be prepared for it. It's important to understand what I'm going to be up against when some of these kinds of things are being discussed and talked about publicly. One of the things that with this clear suppression that they're trying to do, I want to say this. This is a great quote, and I completely 100% agree with this. In my view, the right to offend is far more important than any right not to be offended. The right to ridicule is far more important to society than any right not to be ridiculed, because one, in my view, represents openness and the other represents oppression. That is Mr. Bean. Let's just call him Mr. Bean. Rowan. I guess I don't have his name here. I can't. Atkinson. Rowan. Yeah, you know who I mean, Mr. Bean, the actor. And that's a very powerful statement by him. That's a dangerous statement, frankly, by him. He could lose work over something like that. And so I think that's a good way to end this. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6:30. Going to plan to do this weekday mornings at 6:30, and we're going to start giving away some stuff again tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me, and I appreciate if you consider going to the store, shinybrand.com, and just checking it out frequently, because there's going to be a lot of updates. And also consider sharing this with someone, sharing the website with someone to help prop up what I believe is a good thing, not a perfect thing, because I'm a very imperfect person, but a good thing that can really, with the right financial backing, and I don't mean I'm asking for your money, but the right way to make this as something that can sustain itself will allow me to do a lot of other things to keep this kind of message alive. So thank you so much. See you tomorrow.